What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in Westwood, of course, and today we continue our journey on the log flume ride. So a couple episodes back we actually started on this log flume, didn't really do much to it, but today we finished the layout and actually get a lot of scenery going in it. And so this was a lot more exciting than I thought it was going to be, because it uses a lot of terrain and the drop and everything with it, so we do a lot of terraforming, so it ended up being pretty exciting. Now this is a very small log flume, it's not going to be large by no means. The drop is pretty large. I think the drop is about 90 some feet tall from the top to the bottom, something like that. So it is a pretty big drop, and it goes through the terrain, and we're going to be terraforming this so it's nice and it works well with it. So I was very excited of how this log flume actually turns out. As you did see on the cinematic video, or the cinematic part at the very beginning, it does turn out really cool, and I'm very proud of it. I haven't really made any log flumes. I don't have any experience making these things in game very much, because I don't really focus a lot on water rides, but it was a lot of fun and it turned out really cool. And I'm very excited to show this off to you guys, because this is actually pretty much the last major attraction that is going into the park itself, and then we kind of move on to filling in all the empty spots with like shops and maybe a couple more flat rides. So just so you guys know, this is probably the last major attraction in the park. Unless something comes up, so don't expect any like any more big roller coasters coming into the park. We're gonna focus on what we have left, and at least no more big roller coasters for right now. And when I say that, I mean because in following seasons the park will probably add some new attractions throughout its seasons. It will be kind of fun and kind of cool. So that's going to be cool. So after the drop and the splash, you just go right back to the station. That's kind of the objective here, is just to get that to the station, and we'll work on that later, because I don't actually get to that section. We actually just pretty much theme up everything else up here. So I had a storyline going on to this, and I kind of got the storyline from when I went into the hill over here into like a cave. So that cave, or that tunnel that it goes through, is actually, we're going to be calling that Rattlesnake Cave. And this is a very dangerous area where there's a lot of rattlesnakes, and a lot of people or a lot of folks of Westwood are very scared to go into this cave. But they need to, because there's some valuable materials in here, and there's actually some water as well. So that's always something that's very important as well. So they get some brave people to come through here and brave the cave and conquer Rattlesnake Falls. So this is going to be called Rattlesnake Falls because there's going to be a lot of snakes around, and they need some people. And there's also this huge waterfall that they have to go through after getting through the cave to get down, or to get back to the city. Because there's a current in that water in the cave that you can't really go backwards, so you have to go through the cave and down the waterfall. And they constructed these logs that they got from the Invention Company, because it's literally right on the edge of the Invention Company. And they were able to brave the waterfall all the way down and splash down and make it back safely through Westwood, gathering all the supplies that they needed. So nice little neat storyline that goes into Rattlesnake Falls here. So that's going to be the name of this ride as well, Rattlesnake Falls. It's really fun, and this is Rattlesnake Cave that it goes through, so it's also really neat. So there's a lot of rock work that I end up doing in this ride, and it works out really nice, and I'm very excited of how it actually turned out. The rock work turned out pretty good. By no means are we finished yet. There's going to be a couple more little details probably once we get going and everything. Then I'm thinking about adding a couple triggers to the ride as well, because we do use a lot of VFX on this ride. Once we get to kind of the drop area and all that fun stuff. I was going to call it like Black Hole Cave, and then I was like, nah, let's go with Rattlesnake. in the end. Black hole just kind of sounded weird because I was like, well, it goes into a dark cave, and I don't know. We went with Rattlesnake Cave, and it just rang a little bit better in my mind. And they named that because there's a lot of rattlesnakes that go through this cave quite a bit in the city of Westwood. Not in real life, but that's what they said. So. Anyways, it's looking quite good, and after adding some rock work, you gotta add some foliage in there as well, a couple of trees, just to give it a more natural look and a really nice look as well, and it looks pretty darn good. So this is a very simple log flume. This is something, again, that we get done pretty much all right here. There's not much to it, and I wanted to create like a small little waterfall off the rocks here, but it wasn't working out amazingly, so I did what I could, and it's gonna just be like a little small waterfall more than anything. And I tried different things because I hadn't even made waterfalls out of VFX before, and I've seen a lot of people do it, and then I was just like, well, this large water thing probably works just a little bit better more than anything else, so I went with that, and it looks quite good. And yeah, so just wait till we get to the actual drop of the log flume as well. So we are getting to the final stages. I've been saying this for quite an episode. We're getting to the final stages of the park where it's starting to get developed, and a lot of stuff that we still need to work on. And there's going to be a lot of gap filling episodes, which are going to be probably a bit boring, but you'll really start to see the park come together in the next couple episodes after we get through this log flume. So after the log flume's completed, we're going to be really focusing on getting a lot of buildings up and getting all that. And then I will also go back to the dark ride back in the mining section and complete that ride as well, because we got to create a couple more scenes for that, and then also enclose it and make that nice and nifty, because I just kind of moved on from that because I kind of wanted to get to new things and maybe come up with better ideas for the dark ride a little bit while I was creating the park, and I knew I was going to come back to it, and I can't neglect it much longer because I'm sure people are wanting to see that get finished as well. But it will come together, and everything will all come together in the end, so that's going to be really cool. So I wanted to cover this up, and I didn't know it was possible at first, but you can actually put rocks and cover all this white wall up. So that is something I kind of wanted to do to kind of blend in with the water below it, and it actually turns out pretty decent. And you could actually throw some rocks in the water as well to make it look like there's kind of some rocks at the bottom of the falls as well, of the waterfall. So it turned out all good. And my method of rock work, working around, is to use the same rock and then just fill it in with some other different rocks to give it some really unique formations, and it actually works pretty well when you actually mix and match them. And I have a certain rock that I like to use that's kind of flat, and it works well against like the tracks and stuff like that. It looks really good. And yeah, so it always looks a little bit rocky at first, no pun intended, but once you get into the foliage and you just kind of work with it a little bit, and just keep adding some more scenery. The more scenery, usually the better. Once you add more scenery, the better it starts looking, and that's pretty true in my opinion. So it actually does turn out pretty nice, and using the terrain on this was very important for me as well. I thought it'd be really cool to actually have it go off of a kind of like a cliff, and that's kind of like the idea that we get here for the ride itself. And yeah, Rattlesnake Falls is going to be a pretty fun log flume, and I have very high hopes that it's going to be a success as well. I think it actually had some pretty decent ratings as well. It was just under all greens across the board, I think. I think Fear was in the yellow, but so was Excitement. I think Excitement was like a 5.4 something. I'm not entirely sure. I would have to look it back up again, but for the most part, it's going to be a pretty successful water ride as well in the park, and it's going to have a very high scenery rating at the same time. So nothing to worry about there. We got a lot of stuff to get going on. As you can see, we can actually put the rocks in this water, which actually was really cool, I thought. And I was like, yay, that's one step that I was hoping that they would make to, you know, because there's a lot of limitations sometimes when placing scenery items within a ride and stuff. So there's sometimes I get a little bit frustrated with that, but here it actually let us do it, so I was actually pretty excited about that. And I was like, well, that's nice. And I wanted to put a lot of VFX in here as well to make it look a little bit misty. It makes it look a little more realistic when you actually have a waterfall. You know, there's actually going to be some mist or whatever coming from the water a little bit. So I wanted to make sure that I had that in there, which I believe I get to later in the video. I might do it here. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I do it right here. So it just gives it a nice, a better look to it, I think, and it looks really, really good. So anyways, and you know, I don't have a lot of experience with this, but I'm very, very proud of how this log flume turned out, and I'd love to hear your guys' feedback as well in the comments section. Let me guys know what you think so far of this log flume. I think it looks pretty beautiful, and I'm very excited on opening day of this park that it's gonna be a hit. So I want to make sure there's a lot more rides, because I think at this point we only have like 14 rides, but we have a cajillion shops, and that's always a good thing as well. So I think we're gonna be in the money quite a bit when it comes to all that stuff. So I wanted to put like these here as well. There's gonna be like some water parts that just kind of splash up, was kind of my idea, and I'm not sure if I triggered these or not, but I wanted to trigger them to where when the flume comes down and it splashes up, just an extra splash effect. I don't actually think I added those at the start, but I might in later on down the line. So here we're gonna work on more rock work on the lift hill. I made sure to raise the terrain as much as I could. That way we had to do as less rock work as possible, because it only lets you get so close to the track when you're using the terrain. So using the rocks actually kind of finish that off and make it look pretty nice. So yeah, it's a pretty quick and easy thing to do. I mean, it doesn't take tremendously too long to create all these you know, do all this rock work. So it was quite simple and not too bad. So and you also don't want to do it in a way kind of where you're not gonna have too many objects, otherwise it's gonna be, you know, have some tough parts to render, which is kind of gonna be a little bit of an issue as well if you're not careful. So but the game is still running fairly well on my PC, as long as I don't have it on like high or the graphics on high. I think I was running on low on this episode, so I think there was another episode I was running lowest and it was still kind of laggy, but this one was actually still really smooth on low. It just kind of depends how my computer's actually feeling. So but in the next coming months, I am hoping to upgrade my graphics card and get a nicer graphics card. I'm still running a GTX or NVIDIA GTX 660 Ti right now, and it's been a fantastic graphics card so far. It's ran the game pretty well, to be honest. I couldn't imagine getting to one that's better, that's gonna run it even better, because you know, 660 Ti, it's not the greatest graphics card out there in the world, but my gosh, it's gotten the job done since I've had it. And I got it installed back in the day when it was one of the best graphics cards, so it runs Planet Coaster pretty well. So and I'm sure it's I'm pretty sure it's a good option to go if you can't get, you know, a fantastic graphics card. You know, I'm sure it's I don't know exactly how much the 660 Ti runs for, but if you guys are looking for kind of a cheaper option, it runs Planet Coaster pretty decent on my PC. So as long as you don't get into too detailed parks like I am right now. So I don't want anyone to worry about the frame rates when we get to like the cinematic videos, because I'm just going to be using Cheat Engine to slow down the gameplay and get some high FPS ratings, and I've been actually working on that lately quite a bit on how that works, because I haven't been able to get the footage kind of correct. I would slow it down 4 times, and I guess I sped it up too quickly or something like that. So I've been doing a lot of I've been doing some test videos. That way I can make sure that this park is done right, because this one needs special treatment, because it is one of my biggest projects I've done in Planet Coaster. It probably is the biggest I've actually done in Planet Coaster. So this is a very exciting park, and I'm very excited, and I can't wait. I'm actually already starting to do kind of plans for my next park, which will implement probably the April update, which we've seen a lot of, and live streams and stuff, which is going to be awesome, because we're getting some suspended coasters, some more flat rides, and a lot more scenery items. So eventually I might even, it depends if I'm still on this, I might implement some of that update into this park as well, but we will just have to see in the meantime. So but for right now, this is looking quite nice, and I'm very excited for this, and they said there's a lot they didn't even reveal, so I'm very curious to see what's all going to be in the April update. Seems like it's going to be a very large update, so I hope I hope it's going to be a really good update, like they're saying. So we'll have to figure all that out down the line, and we'll figure it out soon and later. So as you can see, we put this together fairly quickly. I know it's a time lapse, but it did come together fairly quickly, with all the rock work coming down on the drop, and it turned out pretty well, or pretty good. So I wanted to add some VFX on the drop itself a little bit, and I wanted to create a waterfall actually coming down the rocks, and you'll see that here that I work on that in just a moment, and I create this little waterfall coming down to the splash area, and I think it turned out actually very, very cool, and I hope you guys agree, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this so far. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Does it fit the park well? And it is officially in the ghost town section of the park, because of the cave is it is kind of a haunted area as well, I suppose. It kind of mixes in a little bit with the Invention Company and the ghost town, so it is actually going to be counted for both of those in the end. So I hope you guys I hope you guys do enjoy this, and I was very excited to get this episode out because of this log flume. I'm very impressed with this log flume, and it's looking really good. So yeah, so I hope you guys are ecstatic about this park as much as I am. I'm a loss of words sometimes when it comes to some of these, and they're looking really good, and I can't wait to get further down the line. I'm very sad that this is probably the last large attraction in the parks, but it won't be the last one really in reality. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe for more content like this, and I will catch you guys in the next video. So without further ado, make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow. Thank you guys so much, and goodbye.